Happy Friday, everybody. We have made it. It is your Friday lunch break with me. My name is Ivana if you are new here. And also, if you're new here, it is T-shirt Friday. Ben participated unknowingly and wore his. I've got mine. I've got the Basset Hound Rescue of Alabama on today. So if you've been with me a while, you know my love for dogs, especially my Basset Hounds. So today, it's been a week of news, a lot of heavy news. Today, we're going to be able to take a step back and talk about something that most of us in the South are familiar with, at least to some degree, and that is high school football. Tonight and last night and tonight have really been the kickoff days for high school football in Alabama. Ben Thomas is our high school sports reporter. He is our expert on all things high school sports, and he covered some games last night. He plans to go out tonight and cover more. So Ben is here today to give us a little bit of the scoop of what's happening pandemic-wise at some of these games. We're talking about fans, masks, things like that, and also what's happening to some of these teams that had to quarantine either players, coaches, etc. So if you have questions about your team, about your city, please let me know. I will be watching these comments come in, and we'll ask Ben. If he doesn't know, we will get you the answer that you need. So, Ben, thank you for taking a little time this morning. I know you're probably exhausted from last night and gearing up for tonight. But how many games are happening across the state tonight?
Yeah, so we had I think 25 or so games last night, somewhere in that range, and tonight I think over 100, maybe 110, like that on the schedule. So I think I heard that 90% of the teams that were scheduled to play this week are playing. So that's good news for the Alabama High School Athletic Association. I mean, obviously there's been a lot of debate about whether we should play. You know, some states delaying, some states playing in the spring. With the Alabama High School Athletic Association, that was never really talked about. I mean, you know, once the governor and the state superintendent said we should be back in school, they were always going to play. So they did last night, and other than some rain delays, some rain cancellations in North Alabama, from what I heard, it seemed to go pretty well, at least on the field. And I think the interesting thing going forward will be, you know, where are we next week? You know, how do teams do? Do we have a bunch of quarantine teams, or are we okay in getting into week 2? And I think we all hope that things go smoothly and that we're playing again next Friday and the next Friday, and then maybe we get on the other side of this thing. But it was good to have some sense of normalcy back. I mean, I felt good for the kids, especially the seniors, you know, who've worked all their, you know, a lot of their lives to get ready for a senior year or junior year or whatever it may be in high school, to be back on the field. And you could see in the game I went to, Spanish Fort at Fairhope, you could see that joy. And the guys I talked to were just happy to be out there and playing. And I think I wrote a column earlier this week where I said, I think the clear message right now is, in high school football, but really for all of us, savor the moment. I mean, so much has changed since mid-March with the pandemic. We all should be able to look around and be thankful for what we're able to do in normal life and the freedoms we have. And I think that's the way most coaches and most players and everybody associated with high school football feels right now. So it was good to get back out there, and I know it was good for them to be back out there.
We've got Daryl saying that this is just what the doctor ordered. I'm sure a lot of people are with you there, Daryl. Got Michelle asking about her team. Tell me what MCT is, Michelle, and I'll ask Ben. But while we wait on some of those to come in, Ben, let's talk about the changes that we're going to see. I know, like you said, that there's a lot of people that are so glad high school football is back tonight and last night, but even though there might be that sense of normalcy, there are some differences from what we maybe are used to seeing and what happened in the 2019 season versus what's going to happen this year in the stands. So tell us a little bit about capacity and about if fans are, number one, if they are allowed at high school football games, and number two, if they are expected to wear masks, to distance, and things like that.
Yeah, so it's kind of different wherever you go, whether it's Birmingham or Huntsville or Mobile or Tuscaloosa or wherever. The AHSAA put a set of health guidelines out in coordination with the Alabama Department of Health to recommend certain things. I think I haven't heard of anywhere where fans aren't allowed, but at every stadium, there is a reduced capacity depending on where you are. We're out here in Baldwin County, where I live in the Daphne, Spanish Fort, Fairhope area. It is 50% capacity, which is really more than a lot of places have. But it's 50% capacity. A lot of places, Ivana, are doing 20 to 25%. There's a huge game tonight, Hoover and Phoenix City. I think they're in the 20% range, 2,000 fans. I think 1,200 fans for home, 800 for the visitors, Hoover. So everybody is limiting that for social distancing purposes. There were certain things I saw at the game last night. Spanish Fort, which is just up the road from Fairhope, it's a 15, 20-minute drive at the most. They did not bring their band. I think a lot of road bands will not travel to games just for social distancing purposes. The Fairhope band, Fairhope was the home team, was not in the stands. They were spread out in the end zone. So you see a lot of things like that. I also think in going to games, the one thing you need to know is check with the home team, because very few places, if any, are going to sell tickets at the game, which is very unusual. Most places are selling them at a place called GoFan, or you either check with the school site or their website. They're doing digital tickets, anything they can do to prevent that close contact. But I would not.
That's a good thing to know. That's a good thing to know.
And no matter where you go in the state, like I said, maybe some people might be selling them at the gate if there's some left, but for the most part, everybody wants to have those tickets sold before the game so they don't have to deal with that. So look for that. Some tickets, they've raised the price to $10. I think usually they're $7, but some places have raised them to $10, and they're not charging for parking. So that's another thing, that they don't have to have people out there collecting your money to park. So I'd look for all those things. Concession stand wise, I think probably a lot of places will be different. I would expect you to see a lot of packaged things, candy, Reese's and Snickers and that type thing, and soft drinks and that type thing. I don't think you'll see a lot of, you go to, I don't know how many high school games you've been to lately, Ivana, but you go to a lot of places and get gooey fries or nachos and that type of stuff. I would imagine a lot of that stuff would be cut out this year.
All the best things. It's been a while since I've been to a high school game, but those are obviously what I would be going for. But it has to be said that there is no better soft drink than the one you get at a football, baseball concession stand. For some reason, I don't know what they put in it, but it is so much better. We got a question from Michelle about McGill-Tulane and about their stadium capacity. Can you answer that, Ben?
Yeah, McGill, they're playing at home tonight against Davidson. It's a jamboree game, which means it's not really technically a regular season game, but they are at 25%, I believe. The Davidson band is not coming. If you get tickets, I saw today they just announced something where they still had some tickets left. You need to contact the McGill-Tulane school or go by the school and get your tickets, or go onto the website, which I think is mct.org or something like that, and you can get tickets for the game. But I believe that they're in the 20% range, so a lot smaller capacity there as well.
So when you talk about these stadiums that are at either 50, 20, 25% capacity, does that mean that if you go on one of these websites to buy a ticket to, let's say, to the Hoover Phoenix City game tonight, and if there's availability, you will be able to buy a ticket, and if that 25% capacity is already reached, you just won't be able to buy a ticket at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think if they're sold out, they're sold out. And like I said, the Central Phoenix City Superintendent, Randy Wilkes, told me, I'm pretty sure he said 1,200 fans for Phoenix City and 800 for Hoover. Well, that's a huge game, even though it was just put on the schedule this week. And that was kind of a coronavirus issue as well. But that's a game between two of the most prominent teams in the state. Central Phoenix City won the state title just 2 years ago in 7A, and Hoover's won a bazillion state titles, it seems like, over the years. So a really kind of a marquee game that they're having to limit the crowd. And, also, I don't know how our watchers, listeners, I don't know how much they're interested in, but media is different. I've gone in different places in covering games before. I've gone back and forth, Ivana, at press boxes and stadiums, at high school stadiums. It's not quite like Auburn, Alabama. They have press boxes, but a lot of them don't have room for the press. I mean, a lot of it is the PA people and that type thing. And so sometimes you walk on the sidelines and you walk right through the team to see where the ball is. Well, that's a no-no right now. I mean, you can stand the players' box. They're allowing the players to stand from the 10-yard line to the 10-yard line, just spread them out, to get the players spread out. And then so the media is really like from the 10 to the end zone on each side is where you have to be, which is kind of hard to watch the ball there. But that's just another thing they're trying to do to spread people out. Another interesting thing I noticed last night, and these are things you don't even think about at a regular high school game, but the way players get water. On the Fairhope sideline, each player had an individual water bottle with their name or number on it at a table that they went to get that water bottle because, in the past you hand out a bunch of squeeze bottles in the huddle and they use the same water. Well, that's not happening. Spanish Fort coach Ben Blackman told me that they bought 800 cases of bottled water, something like that, something crazy, maybe 80. I guess it was 80 cases of bottled water. And they handed out actual bottles of water like Denzani, but I'm sure it was probably the cheaper version of water. And the players drank that. And when they got done drinking it, they threw it away. So that's something you don't think about at a normal high school game. You would never have thought about that for sure, but they're having to deal with that now.
Right. Well, and because I don't have a child or a relative that is in high school football, playing high school football, that's something that would have never crossed my mind. I know we have Amy saying that her boys have their own bottles with their name on it. It seems like, Amy, a lot of people are in that boat. Ben, I want to ask you something that I know when I was in high school a million years ago, that what we did was there was almost a field that was kind of attached to the football field where all the students hung out and then really drifted to kind of hanging on the fence and watching the game at the fence and calling out to your friends that were on the team or the cheerleaders or whoever your friends were. But it was that we were hardly ever sitting ourselves in the stands. We were up walking around at the fence to that field, etc. Are there any limits on people that can be at that fence line right now?
Yeah, I think it depends on where you go and what the security is like. But I did talk to one coach this week, and I can't remember where they were, but they said, just like you, especially smaller kids who, youth football players who are going to gather in the field behind the stands and play and throw the football during the game. We're not really paying attention to the game. I think a lot of those areas are going to be shut off. They're just not going to let people go in there. So, and I think, I don't think you can. I think even if you're standing up on the fences around the stadium, I think they're going to ask you to spread out when you're not together. That's just part of the world we're living in. And hopefully everybody, and it's kind of up to everybody. I mean, they're not going to be, I don't think there's going to be 15 policemen at every game writing you tickets if you're not social distancing or wearing masks. It's kind of up, just like it is in our society. It's just kind of up to each individual to, appreciate other people. What a great lesson in life. Hey, let's appreciate other people as well as ourselves, and let's be respectful of them. Havana Lad People Stadium is our big stadium in Mobile, seats 35,000 or something like that. And they have gone in and taped off where you can sit and where you can't sit. They have big red duct tape. And they, here's an area for one person, and then we're going to tape off 6 feet and like every other row. So I think some stadiums will do that, and I think that'll help greatly with social distancing and those type issues.
We've got Stacy saying that Thompson High School has done an outstanding job of that. Let us know, Stacy, what is so good that Thompson has done. I'd love to hear it. We have a question from our fellow colleague and fellow high school sports expert, Josh Bean. And Josh asks, how much social distancing did you see in Fairhope last night, especially in the student section? And did you see school officials making sure that students and people were social distancing?
Well, first of all, Josh, I got a spot for you tonight in coverage help if you want to join in. But it was hit and miss at Fairhope for sure. I mean, like I said, they allowed 50% fans, so you still had a pretty good crowd there. And I thought the adults did a good job of social distancing for the most part, as you would expect. Families were sitting together. Students on both sides were students, Savannah. I mean, they were in the student section and they were having a good time, and they were not distanced, and they were not wearing masks. And to be honest with you, I don't know I don't know how or if or even should we get around that. I mean, again, it's you're talking about people's childhood, but unless you're going to have people just police that area and spread them all out, I don't know what you do about it. But I thought in general the crowds were pretty spaced out except for the students, and I don't know if the principals are going to be managing that and try and spread them out more. But certainly that was an issue at the game I went to. The game at Lab People Stadium last night didn't look like it was an issue. It was a smaller crowd. They were way spaced out. So I would say that's the major concern I would have from the first game I covered is how or should you mitigate the students because you don't want to take away all their fun, but you also want to protect them and protect their safety. So I think that'll be something that probably every school system addresses. I mean, we've got to get through this first week of on it. We'll see what the issues are, and then see if we can improve them from the next week.
We've got a question from Christopher. He says, do you know what the policy is for the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery?
Crampton Bowl is pretty limited as well. I know media-wise, we had to be on a pass list to even get in Crampton Bowl. So I think media is not allowed on the sidelines there. The fans it's going to be the same type deal as LAD. It's going to be, I'm sure you can still get a ticket because Crampton Bowl is a big facility, but they're going to ask you to space out, be with the people you're with, and be 6 feet away from the other people and wear masks. Everybody, they want people to wear masks even out in open area. And some people last night at Fairhope weren't, some people weren't. So
when you go into the gate of these games, are there any people there, any officials from the school who are requiring that you wear a mask to enter? And are there any people that are, again, standing at those gates requiring temperature checks?
Well, I mean, I've only been to one place, so I can't speak for everybody. And of course, I go in a pass gate, so I'm not really privy to that. But I mean, there are people there, but I don't think they're checking temperatures of all the fans. I didn't see that last night, and I don't think like I said, I'm sure they weren't pull your mask up or you can't come in. I don't think there was any of that. And like I said, there were a lot of people that weren't wearing masks. Some of them had them around their neck or whatever. So I don't think that it may depend on where you go, but I didn't see a lot of that last night where I was.
I didn't know that. I know there are some stores, grocery stores, big box stores that they won't even let you in if you don't even just have your mask with you. So I didn't know if it was similar to that.
I mean, I would expect at some places they may do that, Ivana. It just depends on, our listener mentioned the Thompson situation. They play Oxford. Actually, they're on a Saturday night. We have 4 or 5 games on Saturday night, and that's 2 defending state champions. That's going to be a big crowd in that game. So it'll be intriguing to see how they handle that, because I would expect, again, they're limited tickets. I think it's a 25% capacity there. So it'll be intriguing to see how they handle it, because that's really a game a lot of people would like to see. A lot of prospects in that game.
Well, speaking of Thompson, I don't know if she's a parent or somehow involved, but Stacy got back to us. She said that Thompson is checking their temperatures every time the players come to practice. They have them spaced out far enough inside the facility during workouts with masks on. They're cleaning constantly. They're not letting them gather in groups. And she says, I'm so impressed. Go Warriors. Every school is doing that, Ivana. Every school during practice is checking the temperatures of players before they come in, spreading people out. That didn't happen with the crowds, but you gotta really appreciate what all these people, the coaches and the players, are going through to get to this point. I mean, they really want to play football. I mean, they're doing. I've had coaches tell me, look, we never thought that we're doing stuff we never thought of before, but these kids want to play, and we're trying to get them to play as safely as we can. And, I would guess they're probably not watching as much scouting film as they used to, because they're having McAdory's coming down here to play St. Paul's in Mobile tonight, McAdory at Birmingham School. And they're doing seating charts for buses so the kids can spread out on the bus. They have to consider how we're going to eat pregame meal. We got to spread people out. How are we going to eat postgame meal? Because on most trips, especially long trips like that, you just put kids back on the bus and give them a pizza, and they share a pizza. Well, you can't do that, because 1, they're going to have a mask on the bus, and 2, they can't share pizza. So they gotta eat, something packaged, spread out before they even get on the bus. So I'm thankful for all the coaches and the leaders and the people that are really going to all this to let these kids
play the game they want to play.
You know, there are people that their families that come out in flocks for their kids that are playing high school sports, especially high school football. We've seen that. I know my family was one of those families. And with some of these limitations, that means that big families or people that have families that have multiple people that want to come out and watch the game maybe can't do that. Are there live streaming options for these games? Are there other ways that parents, friends can tune in?
Yes, the NFHS network live streams a lot of our games. You pay a subscription fee, and I think even some of that subscription fee can go to your particular school if you have a school you're following. There is a fee there usually, but it's not much. I think it's like $10 a month, and you can watch a lot of the games on that. So I would check out that, depending on what market you're in. I know in Mobile we have a local TV station, Channel 44, that does a game a week. Tonight they're going to be showing Baker and UMS Wright. There's radio stations out there, so there are ways to listen. But the NFHS network is probably the best way. They're showing a lot of games, and the HSAA has done a good job working with them and getting more games televised. So I'd look for that. I think they saw Steve Savarese and them saw a possibility where crowds were going to be limited, and so they really worked with that group to try and get more coverage of their game. So they've done a good job with that.
And one last question I will give you, and I know we mentioned this earlier, but Lee wanted to know about the concession stands. So can you give us, again, a little bit of a recap of what you told us about concession stands and if there are any kind of blanket rules?
Yeah, I don't think they're blanket rules, but I think a lot of the normal staples that you might see at a concession stand, you probably wouldn't see. Like I said, I mean, they're going to have soft drinks and water. They got to. We're playing football in Alabama in August. You got to have soft drinks and water to drink. Some places may have hamburgers and hot dogs and candy, but I think what you'll probably see eliminated is gooey fries and nachos and stuff like that. But as far as I know, I think concessions will be open. It's just you'll probably have a much more limited menu than you would normally.
Something that one of our reporters, John Sharp, wrote, and again, that article we've put here in the comment thread for you to read if you're interested. But he made the comment that a lot of concession stands are doing foods that are packaged and are not open air. And I would have never thought of that term, but it's a great term: foods that are exposed to air, to anybody that's talking over the food. So I thought that was an interesting way to phrase that. And again, we will have all of your high school sports coverage tonight on AL.com. Please keep an eye out. Ben will be out there. Ben, where are you headed tonight?
I've actually got to man the office, but we got reporters headed out in Mobile and Huntsville and Birmingham and Phoenix City and all kinds of different places. We'll have a live update throughout the night where you can check scores and stuff like that. So you can follow me on Twitter at Ben Thomas Preps. We're going to have I'm looking forward to it. And I'm really even looking forward to next week to seeing, hey, you know what? We played a week and everything's okay. That's my prayer, that everything is okay and that we keep going forward.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ben. Good luck tonight. Good luck to all of the teams, all of the students out there tonight. I'm not going to pick favorites, but good luck to all of you. And for everybody watching, have a great weekend, whether you are or are not planning to watch some football tonight. And we'll see you on Monday.